Webinar discussing best practices in identifying and purchasing strategic patents. I'm Maria Hansen, Director of Marketing at TAEUS. If you have any questions, please type them into the questions box on your screen and they will be addressed at the completion of the presentation. All attendees are now in mute mode. Our presentation is scheduled for up to 1 hour, including questions. A recording will be available through the TAEUS website tomorrow. Now, let me introduce today's speaker, Mr. Rick Mintle. Rick is the Vice President of Engineering at TAEUS. He is a senior executive who has managed the technical investigations of hundreds of telecommunications, consumer electronics, semiconductor, and software products. Rick brings engineering, operations, marketing, and sales managerial expertise to our clients. Rick received his BSEE from the University of New Mexico and his MBA from the Florida Institute of Technology. And now let me hand things over to Rick.
Good morning or good afternoon to everyone out there. We are coming to you live from sunny Colorado Springs, Colorado at the base of the snow-covered Rocky Mountains and world-renowned Pikes Peak. This is an outline of the main topics we will cover in this presentation. First, we will discuss the many reasons a company may want to acquire patents. Then we will discuss the importance of defining the project needs up front. There are many different approaches that can be used, and we will review several of them. Next, we will review software tools and the subject matter expert's role in the evaluation. Finally, we will talk about other business considerations and the importance of claim charts. So let's get started. Many clients these days are being very selective in what they want to purchase. There has been a dramatic change from the large quantity of patent acquisitions from just a few years ago. Companies are less interested in buying large portfolios and then having to sort through and separate out the good ones. A few high-quality patents are generally more interesting than purchasing larger portfolios of lower quality. Companies always want a bargain, but many are willing to pay a reasonable price for a good quality patent. This means that identifying the key patents is critical, and this is what we will be discussing today. There are many reasons why a company would want to acquire additional patents to add to their portfolio. From a defensive point of view, you may be the target of litigation efforts from another company and currently do not have patents to counteract those threats. Or you may want to supplement the portfolio you have to add strength in key areas. There may be a new product line that you are developing that will require some patent protection. Or you are preparing for a licensing negotiation and need to have a better portfolio to keep the cross-licensing fees more in balance. Or perhaps you are developing an assertion program against a key competitor and need to identify additional patent assets. Whatever the reasons for the acquisition, the following methodology will identify key patents in the areas of interest and position you with a high probability of actually acquiring those patent assets. The first step in the process is to clearly define the objectives. This may seem obvious, but we have seen cases where lots of time and money could have been saved if the buyer was clear or had thought through exactly what the requirements were. In addition to defining the technology, company, or product target, other important considerations include countries where patent coverage is desired. U.S. patents are often the main focus of the search, but securing patent coverage in other key parts of the world may also be important. The life remaining on the patent is also a key consideration. In most cases, we recommend that the patent have at least 5 years of remaining life in order to justify the acquisition process. Search target. Are we searching through the entire USPTO, or are we looking at a more select set of patents? Many projects that we do involve mining a specific portfolio or the portfolio of a known company who is willing to sell patents. If there are differences or restrictions on sellers, think through that up front. For example, certain buyers may choose not to purchase from NPEs or non-practicing entities, or they may want to buy from another direct competitor or a specific target company. This will narrow the search. In addition, there are companies who will not sell patents in general, so obviously you don't want to consider patents from those sources. Information on the buying habits of many large patent holders can only be gained through the regular contact and discussion with these companies on a regular basis. We at TAEUS regularly visit these companies to understand what patent constraints they may have. Now that the project parameters have been set, the actual patent search begins. Often, the search process will start with identifying a specific product or technology area from the target company of interest. We then need to decide where we will be mining for the patents of interest. Is the whole world open, or are we limited to a certain portfolio? The entire USPTO is often the best place to start, but other country-specific searches may also be used. We then need to decide on what approach we will use. There is a large variety of approaches that can be undertaken to identify good patents. For each project, you must consider a number of variables and put together the right approach in order to achieve the results that you are looking for. Examples of different approaches are seed patents. If you are trying to find patents against a specific company, you can research their litigation history and find patents that were successfully litigated against them. You will then use those patents as seeds to identify other similar patents that may also apply. Market analysis. If your goal is to find patents that hit on a specific target company, it is often useful to perform a market analysis to determine which product lines or technologies are more significant than others, and then look to acquire patents that apply or are used by those key target products. A single hit to a major product line can be much more valuable than several hits to smaller revenue-producing products. Data sheets and technical literature. If target products have been identified, data sheets, user manuals, and other technical literature will be collected and analyzed to identify specific key features and technologies that will be used for the patent search. Semantic searches. Sometimes when you have good base documentation that are very close to or describes well the features or technologies that you're looking for in the patent, you can use these documents and perform a semantic search to identify semantically similar documents, or patents. Keywords are commonly used in these type of searches as well. Keywords can be derived from various tools that have been developed and they have proven useful. However, often the most useful keyword searches are developed by subject matter experts who are knowledgeable in the target technology area and have current market knowledge. These SMEs can identify key terms and phrases that can quickly narrow down the patent list to very specific areas. Regardless of the approach, software tools facilitate identifying a smaller, manageable group of patents from the entire patent universe. There are many different analyses that can be performed to identify good patents in the target areas or technologies. Several of these are listed here. Examples of how we may apply these tools is to use seed patents, perform classification analysis, citation analysis, textual similarity analysis, and keyword searching and extraction. Most all IP companies who operate in this area will use at least some of these techniques. Oftentimes, you need to overlap several of these techniques in order to identify the best patents in the area of interest. Software tools help in the screening process to identify potential patents. There are many tools out there, such as Thomson, Questel, Anography, as well as several others. TAEUS uses or has used most all of these at one time or another. In addition, we have developed several of our own custom proprietary tools featuring algorithms that we developed and have found particularly useful from our 22 years of portfolio mining experience. However, tools are only used to select the right technology areas, companies of interest, patent life parameters, etc., and help us prioritize which patents to evaluate. The tools allow you to sift through a large potential patent set and narrow it down to a manageable quantity that then will be looked at by subject matter experts. The main value of the tools at this point is to quickly eliminate those patents that are outside the parameters that have been set for the project. This is a screenshot of one of our proprietary keyword analysis tools. We have a proprietary semantic analysis program that finds the most important semantic n-grams, i.e. keyword strings, and tells us how many times these same strings occur within the entire USPTO patent list from the last 20 years. We can use these strings to help us build meaningful Boolean keyword searches to identify similar patents. This is a screenshot of another proprietary tool that we have developed. We take the semantic analysis one step further by finding all content similar patents and present the data as a three-dimensional cluster and a list of patents. We can color code the patents by assignee to see where the target patent lies relative to others in the space. We use this for threat analysis, R&D strategy, prior art research, and of course, identifying similar patents for acquisition. Once the software tool search is complete, you will have a list of several, or maybe even several hundred, patents to consider. Tools can only get you so far. A hands-on evaluation by industry experts will give you the information necessary to find the good patents. The technical evaluation by the expert should include at least these criteria, rated on a defined scale of 1 to 5. This triage is actually a subset of the TAEUS Works evaluation process that TAEUS has been using for over 15 years. These factors are current commercial use. Is the technology currently being used in the marketplace? Ease of investigation. How difficult and or costly will it be to investigate? Scope of claims. How broad is the claim language? How applicable is it to the technologies outside of the intended invention? How difficult will it be to develop a claim chart? What products in the market today potentially use the technology described in the patent or apply to the target company or product? The output of this exercise will be a list of potential patents that have a high probability of being in the area of interest, and specifically finding patents that can be reasonably claim charted. Our initial focus is to identify the low-hanging fruit. That is, those patents that can be investigated against high-value products that can be claim charted based on publicly available documentation or low levels of reverse engineering. Before developing claim charts, which can be both time-consuming and costly, you'll want to contact the patent owners to determine if they're even willing to sell. We like to think that anything is for sale for the right price, but that's not always so. Understanding the encumbrances is critical. It affects the value of the asset, but just as importantly, you'll want to confirm that the target company of interest is not already licensed. Oftentimes, an NDA will be required to get this information. Other times, you may need to construct a whitelist. That is, a list of companies of interest. And the owner will respond to that, the status just for those companies only. It may be worth your while to conduct a prior art search, especially if the patent was not one of the earliest in its classification. Engaging with a third-party broker to purchase the patent on your behalf can be beneficial. Additionally, the patent buyer can be kept anonymous through the majority of the buying process, and this can oftentimes provide a lower purchase price for you. Based on the results of the subject matter expert's analysis, it is an easier decision to select patents to claim chart. Sometimes claim charts can be created based on data sheets and other publicly available documentation, but often some level of reverse engineering may be required to provide a solid claim chart. To make an educated decision whether or not to purchase a particular patent, an EOU or evidence of use claim chart may be sufficient, but other times a full claim chart may be required. TAEUS focuses on identifying those patents that can be investigated based on documentation only or that require limited reverse engineering, such as device operation or limited disassembly. TAEUS has the expertise and experience to perform major reverse engineering analyses such as full circuit RE or code extraction and full software RE. But oftentimes these approaches, while they are feasible, are not cost effective and are only considered after all other methods have been exhausted. This slide shows an example of an evidence of use claim chart that we developed for our clients to demonstrate the use of the patented technology by the target company and the specified product. Again, this is a very critical step in demonstrating the usefulness and applicability of the targeted patent. Without this step, there is no way to know if the patent really is being used or how valuable this patent really is. Once good patents have been proven and willing sellers have been confirmed, there is still work to do in putting a successful deal together. Clarifying which patents and which family members are of interest, what license-backed rights are available, and other similar business conditions are important, but price is often the overriding consideration. The price a company is willing to pay depends greatly on the need and the situation at the time of purchase. If this patent is needed in an upcoming litigation effort or to strengthen a licensing position, the patent will have a different value than if it is needed for general defensive purposes. Because of this, there is no list price that can be relied upon. To help in this area, TAEUS will look at the conditions of similar transactions in similar technologies and situations and make recommendations on what our client can expect to pay for those patents. We also help our clients get the best deal possible considering all factors outlined in the acquisition project. In summary, there are many different approaches to choose from. Select the best approach for the specific project goals. Tools help you sort and prioritize large numbers of patents, but can't tell you which patents are really being used. Patent review by subject matter experts, familiar in the technology area, and current market knowledge is critical. Developing claim charts is the only way to know if the patented technology is actually being used. Identifying good patents is not enough. Many business factors have to be managed along the way to produce a successful result. The purchase of a known good patent. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Rick. And thanks everyone out there listening in for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us. Hopefully you got some insights into how we approach the patent acquisition process and can help you identify high-quality patents to acquire. We'll now take any questions that you have. Open up the questions box here. All right, it looks like the first question here, Rick. What is the difference between an evidence of use and a full claim chart?
Well, evidence of use is typically a little simpler and less detailed than a full claim chart. A full claim chart will have a lot more detail that's required, especially if it's going into litigation. For an evidence of use claim chart, you can use inferential material to prove claim limitation, whereas a litigation-ready claim chart, you will want to have much stronger evidence and proof of each individual limitation.
Okay, next question. What is the advantage of using a broker for patent purchases, like to actually purchase a patent?
Well, I think several things. One, you can expect you'll have a trained negotiator available. By using a broker, we've been through these type of deals many times, so the standard conditions and operating parameters we're very familiar with and can make sure that we get all of those things covered in the contract and the deal. One of the big advantages is where we get involved a lot is that we can actually be an anonymous buyer. This means that we would not divulge who the final purchaser of the patent is until the end of the deal. This can often lead to a lower purchasing price, especially if you're a large multi-billion-dollar company. This can have a great effect and can be a real advantage to you. And I think maybe one of the last items is probably a broker is constantly in the marketplace looking for different companies, what their needs are, what patents and technology areas that they may want to sell in, and that allows us to more easily hook up the patent owner with a patent buyer of a specific technology area. And knowing the right people within each organization to contact in order to facilitate those transactions are possible.
Okay. A couple more here. Can we get a copy of these slides? Of course. We will have actually the recorded presentation up on our website tomorrow. And if you would like the actual PowerPoint, just feel free to email us. Yeah, you should have that email.
Do we put it up on the website too, or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, this question here, what should a company do in-house to produce high-value patents?
What should a company do in-house to produce high-value patents?
Yes.
Well, I think it really depends on what you're defining as high value. High value to you could be developing patents around your key products. This will give you better protection against competitive threats and supplement your R&D effort. Other areas would be, let's see, I think making sure that the patents that you're developing are based on real-world applications and are provable, meaning that you've developed a prototype or something. A lot of times we will get companies that approach us, especially like individual inventors, that they will say, hey, I have these 5 or 6 patents that I want to sell. And we will look at them, and they're kind of interesting ideas, but they've never been demonstrated and never been proven. So the value of those patents is often, significantly lower than if they at least had a prototype or a working model in order to do that.
Okay. All right. What percentage do you charge to sell a patent?
Oh, that can vary quite a bit depending on the number of patents, the size of the portfolio, these type of things. I think it can be anywhere from 10 to 30, 10 to 50, actually, yeah, even a 50% range. Each one is individually priced, if you will. I think it just really depends on the scope of the project. But for any of these type of inquiries, we can provide the mining, the claim chart, the development, the negotiation of the deal, certainly the brokering, and all those factors will come into play on the price. And so if there's something specifically that you would like to narrow down, we'd be happy to talk to you about it directly and develop a specific statement of work and understanding of what you need, and then we can provide you a cost estimate for that at that time.
Okay, here's a question. It's a little bit longer. One of the bullet points suggested the option of buying one patent versus the entire family. Wouldn't buying just one patent within a family of patents pose some problems in subsequent licensing or sale of that patent, since most want rights to the patent, including all priority, parents, and continuations?
Okay, that was a long one, but it's actually a very, very good, insightful type of question. Very often, certainly in most cases, we recommend that when you purchase a patent, if you identify a patent for sale, that you purchase the entire family because of the reasons that you have listed there. It really depends on what the buyer is looking for. Sometimes, for example, you may buy a patent and you may not care about its family members in other countries, and therefore there's no reason that you would need to acquire it and maintain it and keep it going that way, so you can lower the acquisition cost by not taking the whole family. Some companies will sell patents that way, some won't. It just depends on the individual technology situation, absolutely, and what the goals are. But those are definitely things that you have to consider. When we identify a patent and select a patent and develop a claim chart that we think that is applicable, we also do the research and make sure we understand all the family members, both for continuations, divisions, as well as the foreign counterparts. And sometimes that's a very key in deciding whether to buy a particular patent or not, is how broad the coverage is in other countries.
Okay, here's one. Do you also represent the inventor to sell their patents to another corporation? In other words, search for a buyer.
Yes, absolutely. We do that. We do that quite a bit as well. Again, I think the key thing in the brokering relationship is that we have a lot of relationships with
both buyers and sellers.
Buyers and sellers, and basically companies with patents. We understand what the technologies of interest that they're looking to acquire. We also understand the technologies that are maybe no longer core to their business and would be open for selling. And so matching that up with whether it be an individual inventor or a company is definitely something that we do on a regular basis.
Yeah, and for an example, the public sales that we represent for patents are listed on our website. So you're welcome to go there and get a feel for what we're up to.
I think that's a good point. If you go to the TAEUS website, you'll see the portfolios for sale. You'll see a complete marketing package that we put together that describes the patents, the technology, and everything that's available there. So that can give you an example of what we would put together if we were to broker a group of patents for you or on your behalf.
Okay, here's another one. What are the most effective ways to discover patent infringement by the companies that your client is targeting?
That's a good question. That's exactly the majority of what we're trying to do in many projects on a day-to-day basis for us. Basically, the process that we've outlined here is targeting specific products of a company. What we'll do, we'll use a lot of the tools and analysis approach that we have talked about today to identify the particular products that those patents would apply to. But what you really have to do is, once you narrow that down to some patents that potentially apply, you actually have to spend a lot of time and go through, and that's really where the claim chart comes into play. That is the proof that the patented technology is being used in that particular product. So you will break down the limitations of the claim and go through the documentation or perform reverse engineering in order to prove each one of those limitations. And if you can't prove them all, well, then it's not being used. And so that effort is actually pretty extensive, or can be. Again, we try to do it based on publicly available documentation. Nowhere do they give you all that information all at once. It has to be pulled from a variety of different sources. But you also have to understand the technology and the patent very well in order to be able to go and find that evidence of use.
Okay, I think that wraps up the attendee questions. So maybe one more minute. If anyone has anything, please, we can hang on for another minute or so.
Yeah, we have another minute.
Sure.
Somebody's talking.
Okay, well, is there anything else you wanted to add in closing, Rick, then?
No, I think that's it. Appreciate everybody's time, and hope there was some little tidbits of information there. If you have any specific questions, you can always send us an email, and we'll be happy to provide some additional information.
All right, have a wonderful day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you.